Just be yourself might be the most useless interview advice anyone's ever handed you, because if being yourself was enough, you'd already have the job. And the truth is, the people who nail interviews are not just being themselves. They are being a prepared, sharpened, intentional version of themselves, and none of that is fake. So today, we're going to go beyond the advice that sounds nice, does nothing, and talk about real tips that actually change how an interview goes. Let's dive in.
We are Caleb and Mary Beth Lutz, former teachers who now in real time are building out the income and influence resources we truly wish someone had given us sooner. So we're grateful to be here today. We're actually going to cover 4 tips about job interviews that go beyond just being yourself. So 1, be your prepared self, not your raw self. 2, trade adjectives for evidence. 3, solve their problem instead of showing off your resume. And 4, manage the energy in the room. So we have quite a bit to dive into. Really looking forward to this. So, yes. All right. Point number 1.
Point number 1.
Okay. So be your prepared self, not just your raw self. And I can dive in here just a little bit. So and for those of you that we are just meeting, again, former teachers. So we're definitely used to preparation and lesson plans and things like that. I will say, I don't mind public speaking, which is funny. If someone gives me a mic and is like, hey, talk about a topic that you enjoy, I could probably go up there and wing it, just to be 100% honest with you. You know,
you would enjoy winging it?
I would. It would be great. Not in an interview.
Yeah.
That is completely different. Regardless of personality type, regardless of what you like or don't like, the most natural person in the room, and I say natural with quotes, is rarely winging it. They practiced. One example on that, one of our favorite leadership coaches, John Maxwell, that we know of, just finished a great book of his, and he said that every single speech he does or training, he always prepares, like always. So if this is someone who's been in the industry for decades doing this, same idea when it comes to professionalism. So practicing and coming prepared is one of the best things that you truly can do.
Well, I want to give the opposite example. And we are doing a lot of these videos right after we did a hiring round for the free agency that I run. And I believe the numbers were we had 50 applicants. I gave interviews to 30.
Yep.
I ended up actually doing interview calls with like 20 or 21, narrowing that to 5, then going to 1. But I remember one of the interview calls, I got off very quickly. We were at our time, called this candidate. Their first question back to me when I asked them, well, hey, tell me what had you submit your application, why you thought you'd be a good fit. You know, that's kind of my opener. And the response back was, I'm sorry, can you remind me which interview this was for? Oh. And immediately the interview was done.
That's terrible.
Because I'm like, so this is one of dozens that you're just submitting your info. You didn't do any prep. This was not intentional from your end, and I cannot hire an unintentional person there. Flip that with someone who's coming in saying, yes, sir. Here's what I read in your posting.
Yeah.
Here's why I thought I might be a fit, and here's kind of been my brief experience to this point. I really liked how you shared this. And so, you know, I'm sure we'll dive in with more questions, but that's why. Completely different, where I'm like, awesome, we're immediately in conversation. We can go from there.
Yeah, and you even, when someone comes in like that, it's like, wow, they took time to prepare. Like, I think the question we've said is like, when we're looking at someone, especially when it's your own business, why should I pay you X amount of dollars to do whatever the job posting is saying?
Because to a business owner, it is a risk. To a business owner, why would they take $50,000 to invest in someone if they didn't believe that person could solve the problem for them? We'll loop back on this too, with I think the third point here. But
preview.
Yes, but it's why would they invest the $100K, the $50K, whatever it is, if they don't know that you're coming in and saying, hey, here's what I've been training for, and here's all the life prep and my intentionality to do this for you. I'll say one more piece here and then we can keep moving. But with most of your jobs that are not just your entry level, there's going to be some lingo that you're going to need to talk. they're going to need to know that your experience in my industry with POs, with claims, with, whatever it may be, with load coverage, that's in the freight world. In tech sales, you can talk about the lead generation. You can talk, and there's so many points.
SaaS or
Yes.
for sure. ICP, like those are, absolutely. Yeah.
So your marketing job is different from your ops job, is different from your server job. And so am I coming here with my personality? Am I coming here with my industry knowledge and truly read up on the company? The posting itself should be a very good clue for you on what they are looking for.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, preparation is not fake. It's actually respecting them for the time to actually, interview for the opportunity. And when someone comes in unprepared, I mean, dare I say it, I think it's a little bit disrespectful. Like,
Highly.
Why would someone want to take the time with you? So,
and please don't waste my time.
Yeah, exactly. So just at the end of the day, be someone who actually did the work and prepared, and you're going to stand out when you do this.
I would love to dive into the second point that we have here, which is trade out your adjectives for actual evidence. Yeah. It's a nice way to say, cut the fluff talk. Mm-hmm. So everyone says, I'm the hardest worker. I'm really detail oriented. I really do this and that. Great. Yeah. People love me for this. So instead of saying, I'm a hard worker, say, yeah, I grew up on a farm. Normal for me was getting up with the sun and working the whole day through. And then, by sunset, we're still tinkering around and doing stuff in the shop to make sure we're prepped for the next day. That's an example that tells me the type of lifestyle this person is used to living so they can handle in 8 hours. That's one example. But give something tangible of, here's what I'm used to. In school, here's what I did to separate myself. In athletics, here's what I did to separate myself. In my previous jobs, here's what I did. So as much as you can, example instead of fluff talk.
Yeah, I kind of think of it as, okay, you may have, been described as hardworking, or just as one example, but think of a few adjectives, that most people would describe you as. That would be helpful in the particular position, and just kind of have that ammo, like quick 30-second stories about that particular one. So when you go into an interview, because they are going to ask something like, so tell us about yourself, or whatever it is there, like a specific story that proves the trait, that's what's going to stick in the memory of the interviewer versus just saying, oh, I'm this or I'm that.
One more specific example that came across in the final interview rounds I did, conflict management is something that I have to have.
Yes.
And you deal with daily in the freight world. So I have to know that someone can give me an example of a time that conflict blew up and they were responsible to solve it and they handled that. And that was basically the determining factor between a final 2-3 candidates is who could concretely respond and say, yeah, so here's what day in, day out looked like. Here's what I dealt with. And the person who stuck out in so many other ways, but then on that one point was really wishy-washy and avoided it. And I even asked it a second time and they avoided it. I could tell they were conflict avoidant, and that was a difference maker. So again, think with who and what they're hiring for, what that problem is. And again, this is a good transition.
You literally went right
to
into
point
the
number 3.
Third point here, yes.
Is to think about the problems they're having instead of just showcasing, here's all the stuff I've done.
Yes.
And if you can target that, you can answer so many questions for them or get past the initial, how would you say it? Apparently I'm saying fluff talk a lot, but get past the initial stages of the interview to what they really care about, which is, okay, here's what our issues are and what are some good clues maybe for what they're looking for.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I'll say on that too, there is an element of sales to interviewing. Okay. And I mean, here's the thing. We're married. This man sold me really well. And right here, you did it real good.
Playing hard to get. Sells a lot. People want what they don't have.
Oh my goodness. So funny. But you know what? It was the best sale you ever made. So I love it.
True that.
But
married up in every way.
The point is
the sales job.
Sales at the end of the day is finding a need and filling a need. Like that is sales at its absolute core. And so when you go into an interview, if you can come in saying things like, wow, I noticed this on the job posting. by the way, every job posting exists because of some pain point. Maybe there's something missing. Maybe there's something broken and they want someone to come fix it. Or maybe the company is experiencing massive growth and they actually need someone to come in. Figure out what that pain is and speak straight to it when you can.
And if you're not sure, ask.
Yeah,
Say, hey, here's what I picked up from the posting. I wanted to ask, is this the main reason you're hiring for this role right now? Or like, what are the top 2-3 essentials that you know you've got to have here? Because here's why.
Yeah. And even asking yourself, like, okay, maybe they're describing the position to you. Maybe you read the posting. Maybe asking yourself a question like, okay, what does this team need that they don't currently have? And how can I fill that gap? That's what you bring to the table. And so highly recommend read the posting again. A lot of the must-haves that they're looking for, they might just be like literally at the top, but they're kind of pain in disguise. So really just show them like, this is what you need fixed. I fixed it before. Tell stories behind it. You will very much stand out in the interview process by doing that.
I agree. We've got one last point before we do a quick recap, and that is to manage the energy in the room.
Yes.
And I think the simple way that I like to think of it is feel the energy, match it, and then raise it just a little bit. And you may hear a few different versions of this. Some people tell you, always bring the energy and come in swinging, full enthusiasm matters. And you will have environments you go into where you're energetic, they're energetic, y'all hit it off, you're going for it, it's amazing. But you're also going to have most interviewers who are trained to be very neutral.
Yes.
Who are trained to be no nonsense. And they just need to find out the real answers from you. And so they only respond so much. They're pretty straight-faced. They're pretty matter-of-fact, pretty professional, neutral. And you can warm that a little, but you want to match that neutral tone and then add a little spice, add a little bit of zest and a little warmth with your examples, but then come back to that place. So again, you're matching wherever they are. That might mean, like for me, I'm usually someone who's pretty chill. That might mean you're speaking up here with someone who's more energetic. That may also mean if they're at a very slow pace, very thoughtful, your responses might need to match that a bit. And then you can speed up a little and do this and that. But your tone, your stories, you want to do what you can to just connect with them. And that energy piece, it's something that is felt more than it is an action that you do or something that you're demonstrating. It is something that you're demonstrating versus speaking.
I will say too, with my particular personality type, and we've done a lot of personality assessments over the years.
Yeah.
One of my biggest from Strengths Finder, shout out to that wonderful assessment, is woo, winning others over. And so something I had to learn, that piece for me as a very bubbly person who is very people oriented, and coming into an interview for me at times was tough because I didn't realize in the beginning that interviewers are trained to be very neutral. And so I'm all like, hey, and I don't feel like I'm getting anything with them. But again, for those of you who have that kind of people personality, just come in, be your best self who is prepared with those stories like we mentioned, and don't be afraid to bring a little bit of flair. Like as an example, the last interview that I had, I knew he was from New York, and we have a little bit of different views on football because we're from Kansas City. So a little bit of a rivalry there, if you know which particular team we're referring to.
There's no rivalry. There's one good team.
Oh, there we go. Okay. But I happened to bring that up and he was like, oh, Chiefs. And it was like the beginning of the interview. And again, like I was calm and present, but I raised it just that little bit.
A personal connection.
A very personal connection. So chill out. Bring the energy up just a little bit. But for those of you who are extremely people oriented, if you're getting someone who's flat faced, it's okay. Just keep doing what you know to do. So
100%. I will recap briefly, but I do want to say one last piece that does reference back to our first point on being prepared. And that is just remember in interviews, the preparation is especially done with the years of your life leading up to now.
That's good.
And you're drawing on who you are. You're not trying to be someone that you're not. And you just need to remember that some positions you're an excellent fit for. Others you might not be a fit for, but if you bring who you are and your most prepared version of that, and you owned that, and you're stretching and you're showing them, I want to go to the next level. I believe I said this on another interview, with amazing applicants, even if they're not a great fit for me, I will go out of my way to refer them to others who are hiring. Yeah. And so that will never steer you wrong.
And just slight plug in the world in general, the more that you present your truly best self to everyone that you meet, the more opportunities and doors will open up for you, even if it's not that one. So
I'm very excited to get into some networking content,
Yes.
more sales content down the road. But to recap today, we've covered 4 main job interview tips that go beyond just being yourself and just winging it. Number 1, be your prepared self. Number 2, trade your adjectives or the fluff talk for your evidence. Number 3, solve their problem instead of just showing off your resume. Number 4, manage the energy in the room, meaning match it, and then raise it just a little bit, add your zest on it. None of this is about pretending. It is about being who you are, but sharp, intentional, prepared. And any thoughts on your end as we close?
Yeah, I would definitely say please check out some free resources. Thank you for being here with us today. One of them on our website is actually the Authentic Sales Playbook. I did kind of touch briefly on this, a little bit of how this guy did a really big sale to get me. But in reality, an interview like I had mentioned, it's really just selling yourself. It's finding the needs of what a company has and you being the one to fill those. That playbook is going to show you all of that without any sleaziness and just sales at its best. So you can check that out in the resources link below. And if this was helpful, please subscribe. We do put content out weekly. So we're trying to do career, money things, just all this stuff nobody taught us in real time. And so thank you so much for being here today with us. And we always say, you always have a choice to change your life. We'll see you soon.
See you guys.